I stole a car when I was 8. I started shooting out windows in my neighbors' houses. I broke into a school, started on fire. I lit a laundromat on fire, and I started doing a lot of burglaries too.
Eric Jesvold was an adrenaline junkie from the time he was a boy. The thrill of getting away with something drove him to all types of illegal behavior.
I really liked the adrenaline of lighting stuff on fire and stealing stuff, obviously, and the attention I would get. I would get attention, but it was just, it was just a thing. It's just what I did. It was almost like a hobby. And I thought I got a little bit cooler every time I got in trouble.
When the adrenaline rush from arson and theft began to wane, Eric turned to drugs.
I liked the effect, right, of smoking weed and drinking. And then I was like, oh man, I want to do every drug once. So that was my whacked out idea of goal setting when I was a kid. I really honestly wasn't a victim or anything like that. It was just the way my brain ticked.
For Eric, getting thrown into juvenile detention and eventually prison was just a part of his life.
My buddies would be in there, right? They'd be in juvenile hall, or they'd be in the juvenile prisons I would go to, or they'd be in the treatment center. So it was almost like a weird sense of camaraderie, right? And then before you know it, you totally, completely grew up in there. And that's kind of, it was like almost a comfort zone.
The idea of being a productive member of society never crossed his mind.
I never really wanted to be like a firefighter or a cop, or I never went through that stage. I wanted to be some sort of criminal. I never wanted to work, and I just wanted a bunch of money, and I never wanted to work for it.
Eric was raised by his mother. His father was mostly absent from his life, and when he was around, he only helped Eric go deeper into drug use.
We grew pot, sold pot, smoked crack, ate acid, hung out, partied. I'm not mad at him. It was just his way of trying to develop a relationship with me.
Eric spent several years behind bars in his 20s for identity theft. When he was out, he went right back into drug use, something he tried to hide from his girlfriend, Christina.
I was stuck, like I was in the dope house. She was calling me, wondering where I was at. And then by that time, I was in this complete, total torture chamber, and I couldn't figure out how to stop doing it.
One day, on his way to deliver crack to a buyer, Eric was stopped by police. Ironically, for jaywalking.
I had the dope in my hand. I was like, oh, bam, and I ate it. And I remember swallowing it. And then they're like, all right, well, you don't have any warrants, so you're good. Go ahead and be on your way. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, dude. They didn't even search me. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I could have kept it in my pocket the whole time.
He went to his friend's house. Soon after, Eric overdosed.
Fell on the ground. I was flopping around, foaming out the mouth. And he left, but he called 911 before he left. I woke up in the hospital.
While he was in the hospital recovering, Eric says he heard a voice.
When I started coming to, I heard the intuitive voice tell me, hey, I spared your life for a reason. I didn't really quite know what that was at that point, but I heard it. I believe it was the Holy Spirit for sure. Letting me know that, hey, I could have just wrote you off.
Eric then entered a rehab program and began learning about a higher power that could help him live a different life.
They taught me what the principles meant behind all the steps, and they taught me how to be the hands and the feet of Christ when I didn't even believe in him. They taught me the importance of sitting down with people and being intentional and working with other people and helping people learn those principles so God could come in and remove the obsession in their life.
One evening, Eric walked into a church service.
And I was by myself. I remember praying. I was like, hey, God, if you could just reveal yourself to me some way, shape, or form. Holy Spirit came in and got all tingly, got the goosebumps, and it was strange to me. It's because I literally asked him to reveal himself, and then he did. So it really caught me off guard.
Eric surrendered his life to God and is now married to Christina. They lead recovery groups and point people to Jesus as the source of recovery.
I committed my whole life into helping people that were just like me, because I want to help them realize that there's a better way of life. The ultimate goal of all that stuff is to lead people to a power greater than themselves, which for us, it's the highest power, right? It's Jesus.
I get to be married to a man who inspires me, and we get to be that for each other, but for the glory of God. The presence of the Holy Spirit is very strong in him. And so you can see it in his walk and his presence and how he continues to strive to be a better man. That inspires other people to want to seek God more.
He is also thankful to be clean and sober, and is now committed to a daily walk with Jesus.
Being relieved of drug addiction and the alcoholism and all that, was really just a symptom. It was all the other, the codependency and the attention seeking and all the other bad behavior, the stealing stuff and all. When I started combating those and learning how to surrender to God and trusting him through those processes is when he really started to fill me up. We have to make a concentrated effort of standing strong in the word and standing strong on the healing scriptures and standing strong on the power of God and really learning about the Holy Spirit. Once we become a new creation and once we become new creatures, it says, that means we're completely brand new. All the glory goes to him. He's done for me what I can never do for myself.